I've got about 100 miles in the Saucony Peregrine 12. So what do I think about this shoe? Stick around. Welcome back, everyone. And today I've got the review of the Saucony Peregrine 12. So I have tried the Peregrine in the past. It's been, years since I've ran in it and had an opportunity to run in it. So I was excited to get my hands on it because I always enjoyed it. But at the same time, in comparison to trail shoes since I last ran it, we've seen a lot of cushioning and a lot more stack height in trail shoes. So I've become accustomed to a very softer feeling ride. So with the Saucony Peregrine, I was a little bit concerned it might not suit my needs as far as, comfort level, and maybe it would just be good enough for shorter trail runs. And I have to say, my thoughts initially on the shoe are basically it's a very light shoe. It's one of the lightest versions that I can recall of the Peregrine. And despite it not having a lot of stack height, it's still a very comfortable shoe, and any impact is not really felt. So I didn't really miss the max cushion that I've gotten from other shoes, but it's I feel like I can run a lot quicker. I can pick up my feet a lot easier due to the lightness of the shoe. So let's talk about some of the features in the shoe. So, for the most part, it's the upper that I think gets a lot of credit as far as the fit. So I do feel that, first of all, it's a very lightweight, very breathable, and also it drains very well. I did a couple creek crossings, and you might be able to see a little bit of kind of a ring around here. And that's where, that's how far I went deep into some of these little creeks. And the water rose, left a little bit of a ring, and then before I was done with my run, the water was my foot was dry. I didn't have any issues, and this is during the summer, so I didn't have any issues with drainage. Lots of overlays, as you can see through here. Over here on the lateral side, and then on the medial side, you have a lot of protection there. So really no worries as far as the upper wearing out prematurely or any type of abrasion may get on rocks or roots that would tear the upper. And of course, you've got that toe bumper here that adds a little bit of protection as well if you were to stub your toe on a root. So very well done there. Everything is heat welded or glued on. These overlays, and so really no stitching on it that I could feel. It is a gusseted tongue, which is a nice feature. And the lacing doesn't have your traditional lacing. It has these little straps on here, which I feel helps kind of pull that upper and that close the top of the shoe and makes it feel a little bit more form-fitting along your foot. Now, the biggest question, especially when it comes to trail shoes, and an issue I've had most recent with a couple of them has been the heel, as far as any heel slippage, because I want a shoe to feel very secure around the ankle, because I feel if there's any movement in that shoe and securing that heel, that I feel like I'm a little bit more prone to rolling the ankles, having the foot slip out, and that was not really an issue. I've not had to use the additional holes back here, the additional eyelets to do the runner's loop. I feel that it does secure the back of the heel. I do feel that I have to kind of lace it a little bit tighter to just kind of cinch that up, make that feel a little bit more snugger. And once I've done that, I've had no issues. Now, overall, the ride has been very, very good. I feel that while it's not a super soft shoe, I don't necessarily miss the less cushioning in it. I don't actually feel the impact underneath. So it does a good job of absorbing that impact while you're running, hitting any type of root or rocks. I did plenty of running on granite out at Stone Mountain, and some very technical trails as well. So I felt that it was really good. The other thing I like about it is that it's a fairly flexible shoe. So definitely for those that are neutral. But what I like about the flexibility is that typically if it's a very stiff shoe, and your foot lands in a awkward or off camber type of rock or root, that the shoe tends to force your foot into a different direction if it's too stiff. And I tend to like a shoe. I think I've gotten to really appreciate a shoe, trail shoe that is very flexible, because it means that the shoe bends and contours to the trail and allows your foot to kind of bend as well. And it's a little bit more responsive, I feel, because it's not forcing your foot to do something it's not really prepared to do based on the trail surfaces. So it feels a little bit more natural. Once again, the lightweight of the shoe, I'd say I've felt really, really fast on it. And that just to me makes my runs a little bit more enjoyable, makes it easier. And because the weight isn't something that I'm thinking about, then the miles sort of kind of disappear underneath me. And I've had a very enjoyable time running this shoe. The other thing I would say is the outsole. It does have some, I'd say some medium aggressive lugs. I mean, it's definitely a lot of traction. And that's one of the things I'll say with their Power Track outsole. It does a pretty good job of gripping the trail, whether it's, muddy, it sheds the spacing of the treads are wide enough to where it sheds a lot of mud very easily. Lots of good traction, very grippy. The one thing that I will say, and this goes for any trail shoe, regardless of whatever material compounds are being used, and they say that it's going to provide a lot of traction or grippiness, is that typically on granite and very smooth rock surfaces, if it's wet, you're going to slip. I have slipped and have had issues where I was put too much faith in the grip of a shoe and the outsole of the shoe, only to find myself, slip and fall because it was a wet surface. So always caution that when you're running on any smooth type of rock, like granite or any type of smooth wet surfaces, just be careful of your foot placement. Because if you put too much weight on it on that wet, it's like running on ice. Your foot is going to slip. So besides that, very, very well designed. I think it does a very good job of grippiness. So where does this fit into my rotation? Well, this has been my sort of kind of go-to shoe for almost all of my trail runs over the last few months, and most of my runs have been on average 6 to 8 miles. I'm starting to increase that mileage because I have a race coming up that's a 19 miler. So I'm trying to ramp up and build that mileage. And I've gone out and I've done as much as 12 miles, and it feels pretty good. I like how light it feels. I like how I don't notice the weight on it. At mile 12, though, I can definitely start feeling a little bit of fatigue in the legs, of course, as I'm training up to those distances, but I'm also feeling a little bit in my feet. So it's a question now. It's like, as I increase my mileage, build up my foot strength, build up the resistance to that fatigue, or will I require, or desire a more softer, comfortable shoe? Right now, I'm leaning towards sticking with the Peregrine, primarily because the course that I'm going to be running, I'm told, is a very technical trail. So being very technical, I want a shoe that's going to have that flexibility. And I think right now I'd prefer the lightweight of the Peregrine 12, because I think I'm going to notice that less over 12 miles. And as I run and train, I'm going to build up that mileage and build up my resistance to type of any of that fatigue that'll be coming, across as I, add some additional mileage. So overall, really like the shoe. Like I said, the traction and the outsole does a great job. The upper, fantastic as far as breathability and allowing water to drain very easily and quickly. So that's not an issue. So I'm very happy with it. If I would also point out, although I don't use gaiters, it does have the option to, if you are running in areas where you need a gaiter to, keep loose rock out of the shoe, you do have this little loop here that you could secure a gaiter on there. The little heel tab here in the back makes putting on the shoe very easy. So I definitely would say give this shoe a try if you're looking for something that's lightweight, has a lot of traction, that's feels comfortable on your feet, especially for the shorter distances. Longer distance, like I said, might be one of those things that you might want to consider a longer shoe, but that's really up to your preference, your training. But overall, I give this definitely a solid try for most trail races. Like I said, I'm going up to 19 miles, and that'll definitely allow me to kind of see at what point do I want a more cushioned shoe, or whether a more responsive, lighter weight shoe is going to do well for me. And it does have that rock shield underneath it, so the foot's definitely still very protected against any type of sharp rocks or roots. So let me know, what do you think? Do you think the Saucony Peregrine 12 is a shoe you like to try? Have you already run in it and given it a try yourself? What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear your comments. Leave them down below. And once again, please like this video, share this video. Love to hear your feedback. So until next time, enjoy the trails.